In this KMB2 video, we're going to take a look at a completed review. So let's just look again at what a review is. And we can see here's an example question. A review is a description and an opinion about something that the writer has experienced. Common examples are a film, a holiday, a product, or a website. And the example here is about visiting the theatre. So let's quickly check what's important when we're writing a review. The style is normally informal. It is important to give details about the thing that you're reviewing. You should also give an opinion about this particular thing. And then finally, at the end of the review, you need to give a recommendation. So let's just take a look at our question. And this is the information here. It's for an English language website, and they're looking for reviews of an activity that somebody has done recently. So let's just look at the key points of this question. The reviews should be about a theatre experience. There should also be information about how good or bad this experience was. And most importantly, is this an experience that the person would recommend? So let's look at how we organize our review. And similar to other types of writing, we have an introduction, and in the introduction, we may give information about the title or the name of something. We may also explain a little bit about what it is. In the main part or the body of the review, we'll talk about the positive features, and we'll also talk about any negative points. And then finally, there's the recommendation. And the question is this something you would recommend to somebody? And if you would recommend it, who would you recommend it for? Now let's look at our question again and how to write it. The first part of our review is the introduction, but before that we also need a title, and here's an example of a title. In this case, the person is going to talk about the Phantom of the Opera, so this is a suitable title for this particular experience. And here is the first paragraph. So we can see the name of the theatre show. It's a musical. And here the person explains what it is. And the person also gives some basic information about this show, that it is spectacular and who the two main characters are. And the language here is appropriate. If we look at the next section of a review, and because it's a performance, it's important to explain some information about the plot or the story. And here we have the paragraph about this. And what the person does here is explain this basic plot or story about the mysterious teacher who is the Phantom. There's also information about the cast, especially the main characters. And then there's information as well about the quality of performance, and especially the performance of the rest of the cast. Apart from the plot and the cast, there are other parts of the show the person can talk about. And for example, because it's a musical, there's information here about the music. And the writer gives an opinion about the music and the orchestra, how well people performed it. There's also information here to describe the set, what the audience could see on stage. And of course, there is a comment about a very famous scene in this show and how the writer felt about this. And even if the review is very positive, there are also some things that perhaps were not quite so good. And in this paragraph, the writer talks about some of these examples. And firstly, they explain some general problems. For example, the theatre was a little bit crowded. They also give some specific examples. Perhaps the break was too long. In some parts of the theatre, it was difficult to see what was happening on the stage. And then finally, there's a question on the recommendation, and you will always have a recommendation in a review. This is why people read a review, is to find out if something is good and if the person recommends it. So this is our final paragraph. And generally speaking, the person believes that the experience was very good. There are connections to the previous paragraph. We can see here it talks about minor problems. These were the problems with a crowded theatre that we saw in the previous paragraph. And generally speaking, the person recommends it. They give it a very good recommendation. It's something that everybody should do. And the writer also explains why it's good for people to go and visit this show.